Well, and a couple of days ago, because yesterday we didn't have a meeting, but the day before, we were working on the equation of a circle. How to identify, if we have an equation like this we have to identify. Yes, this is an equation of a circle. We can see it. And from this example, we have to find out the coordinates of the center of the circle, and also we have to find and calculate the value of the radius. Remember how we do this? Check on this first term and find what is the value of x that makes this equal 0. The value of x equals 3. So the x coordinate of the center is x equals 3. Find the value of y that makes this second term here equals to 0. So y plus 4 equals 0. The value of y equals -4. So y coordinate of the center is -4. The center is x equals x equals 3, y equals -4, right? Now, what about the radius? We need to find out the radius, this, of the circle. And we will look at the right-hand side of the equation. We will look at this number here, 36. Can you find the right answer? Can you tell me what is the value of the radius? If we know that on the right-hand side of the equation of the circle we have the number 36. Send me a message. Tell me what do you think if you know the right answer. The radius is going to be the square root of 36. Anyone? Square root of 36 is? And you can try in a calculator if you're not sure. Remember, there is square root of 36? Calculator, and that's not a problem. We have calculators for that. 36 is square root 6. So the right answer is 6. And look here. 6 is squared. But the radius is 6. That is the right answer. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Davin. Thank you, Edwin. And right, this is something we've seen a couple of days ago. And always when someone asks you what is the radius of the circle, if you have the equation, you just check the number and find the square root of the number that usually is on the right-hand side of the equation. Okay? Now let's move, because today we will see another formula, another topic, is how to find the midpoint of of 2 points. We found out before, one of the things we learned is how to calculate the distance between 2 points. Let's say you have point 1, point 2, and we have a formula to calculate this distance here, right? This distance between 1 and 2, d equals question mark. And we have a formula for that. Remember the formula? Let me write here just to remember. It's kind of a long, kind of not complicated formula, but a bit long. The square root of parentheses x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, the square root of this whole thing. This is to calculate the distance. But now, today, forget about this formula, because we will find not the distance between the 2 points, we will find the point that's right in the middle. The coordinates of the point that's right in the middle. So we have point 1, point 2, and right here, exactly in the middle, we have point M. Okay. Let's call this the midpoint. And the formula you can see here. is actually a ordered pair. We're going to calculate x of the midpoint and y of the midpoint. X of the midpoint equals, we have x1, we have y x2. So x of the midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And y of the midpoint, the same thing. We have y1, we have y2, and the y of the midpoint is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. That's it. The answer will be an ordered pair. You have to represent using the parentheses x of the midpoint, comma, y of the midpoint. Close the parentheses. This is how you will answer a question like that. Let's show how to work on an example applying this formula, right? And we have example letter A. Find the midpoint of the line segment with the given endpoints. Letter A, we have here point 1, point 2. So x1 is -4, y1 equals 6. x2 equals 8, y2 equals 1. So let's find x of the midpoint equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is -4 plus 8 divided by 2. -4 plus 8, positive 4 divided by 2, positive 2. And y of the midpoint equals y1 plus y2 divided by 2 as well. It's halfway, so midpoint. Divide everything by 2. y1 is 6, y2 is 1, 6 plus 1 divided by 2 is 7 divided by 2, 3.5 is the right answer. The final answer, and check this out, avoiding mistakes. Remember that the midpoint is a point. The answer should be an ordered pair, parentheses, x is 2, y is 3.5, plus parentheses. That is the right answer, the coordinates of a point. Now, tell me if you have any questions, and because I think this will help us to find the solution of the bell work. Think if you have questions, if you understand, and maybe how to use this knowledge here to help with the bell work, okay? Any questions? Anything at all? Any comments or feedback or complaints? If you don't have questions, let's move on. Thank you, smiling. Nice. Now let's check what is the right answer. We can think as the turnpike. Let's represent here the turnpike as a line. Let's say the turnpike is a straight line. I know it's not, but let's represent as a straight line. And this is south, okay? This is north. Just to think, we're going to represent the turnpike as a straight line, and ZO is at the mile 55. And this is the same thing as the coordinates on the x. Y and the x-plane and x-axis. See, the number is the mileage, so the mile 55 is here, and the mile 249 is over there. 249 is there. Zach is there, so is here. I want to find the number that is exactly here in the middle. That means this distance is equals to that distance. Okay? How can we find this number? We're going to apply the midpoint. This is a midpoint. The midpoint formula is 55 plus 249 divided by what? How am I going to divide this 55 plus 249, and we want to find halfway, half. Divide by what? What number is half? Of course, that's right, perfect. Perfect. You're going to divide by 2. So 55 plus 249 divided by 2 is 304 divided by 2, 152. 152 is the exact answer. So on the quiz, find the midpoint of the line segment between the two given points. We have to find the midpoint looking at x, and we have to find the midpoint looking at y. And x is, we find midpoint between -3 and 5, right? So x of the midpoint is midpoint between -3 and 5, -3 plus 5 divided by 2. And the midpoint here is -3 plus 5, 2 divided by 2, 1. The midpoint is right here, see? Now we need to find the midpoint between the coordinate 0 and the coordinate 4, because y1 is 0 and y2 is 4. 0 and 4. The midpoint between 0 and 4, y of the midpoint, oops, y of the midpoint equals 0 plus 4 divided by 2, and the answer is 2. The coordinate of the midpoint is x equals 1, y equals 2. All right, now try to solve the other questions. Give me 1 minute, I will check attendance, and after that we can work on more problems or more questions together. If you don't have the graph, the best way is to calculate. You can always draw the graph using graph paper and find out the answer, but it's not hard to calculate. Let me show you. Find x1, y1, x2 and y2, and the x of the midpoint equals x1, -4, plus x2, -6, over 2. -4 minus 6, -10, divided by 2, -5. And y of the midpoint is y1, 5, plus y2, -5, over 2. That is equals to 0. So the answer is ordered pair. You have to represent using the parentheses always. -5 and 0. Okay, don't forget the parentheses. When you have an ordered pair, the parentheses will say this is x, the first number is x, second number is y. Letter G. Same thing, x1, y1, x2, y2. X of the midpoint is the average between x1 and y and x2. So x1, 4, and x2, 4. This is 4 minus 4, 0. Oops, not over 0, over 2. Sorry. And y of the midpoint equals -3 plus 9 over 2. -3 plus 9, 6, divided by 2, 3. The answer is x equals 0, y equals 3. Okay. We have a couple of minutes. I'm just showing letter D. You can calculate, or you can do the graph thing. I suggest you draw the rectangle. It's a good way of finding out by graphing, and find half of this side of the rectangle, find half of that side of the rectangle. You will find the midpoint right here, which is x equals 1, y equals 1.